Royal Navy officer Fraser Nadine is enjoying the flying opportunity of a lifetime as a fast jet pilot with the US Navy. The 33-year-old Lieutenant callsign Spuddle is flying FA-18 Super Hornets on and off the deck of the aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson. Fraser completed his basic aviation training here in the UK and then volunteered for an exchange program in the USA. After completing basic fast jet training and mastering the FA-18 backbone of the US Navy's carrier strike force, he's now serving with Strike Fighter Squadron 192 VFA-192, nicknamed the Golden Dragons, either at Naval Air Station Lemoore in California or from the deck of the Vinson when deployed. "The flying is awesome," Fraser enthused. "You're above Death Valley and huge swathes of the country in airspace set aside just for your training, which is amazing. If you get out at weekends, then 3 hours in any direction is world class. Mountains, coast, vineyards, LA, San Francisco, so you just have to make the most of it." When not at base, the Golden Dragons are one of 9 squadrons in Carrier Air Wing 2, assigned to the USS Carl Vinson, home to around 5,000 other personnel. Aircrew can expect 2 sorties a day, anything from bombing, maritime strike missions to defensive combat air patrol and air-to-air refueling training with tankers, as well as additional duties. Fraser flies the FA-18E Super Hornet, a single-seat strike fighter capable of reaching 1.5 times the speed of sound and delivering ordnance air-to-air, air-to-ship, air-to-ground, missiles, bombs, guided bombs, mines onto a target up to 500 miles from the carrier. Unlike the F-35Bs on UK flight decks, the Super Hornet is launched by catapult, not used by the Royal Navy in nearly half a century. "It's incredible," Fraser says. "You tell the shooter, the catapult officer, what the weight of your jet is, and they will tune in the correct power setting. Then you'll go from sitting still on the catapult to 200 miles an hour in under 2 seconds. Then you're straight into the mission mindset from there. Much more daunting," says Fraser, "is a night launch. It's pitch black, you can't see anything other than with the aid of a tiny finger light to check all your switches, just trying to get yourself settled," he explained. "You dim everything and are then shot into pitch darkness. Imagine no moon, it's just a void, and you're trusting your instruments because all you see is the waterline symbol, the velocity vector, and the horizon line. As long as airspeed is increasing and you're above the horizon, you're good." The Brit has trained extensively so far with the ship and squadron. No training has been more intense than the US Navy's premier workout in the Pacific Rim of the Pacific, which this year drew in 40 warships, 3 submarines, 25,000 personnel from more than 24 nations threw their hats into the ring for the 3 weeks of Rim of the Pacific 2024. While there were no major Royal Navy assets committed, the Royal Air Force did send 2 P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft to join the largest naval exercise in the Indo-Pacific region. Rim of the Pacific was insane. We conducted dissimilar air combat training with Typhoons, Hawker Hunters and A-10s, the Americans' much-feared Warthog ground attack aircraft, which was pretty interesting, as is the sortie count. We carried out some strike sorties, including sink exercises. We also got a 10-day run ashore in Hawaii. As a Brither wears the Union Jack on his flying suit, Fraser realizes he stands out like a sore thumb, but everyone's very welcoming, and on July 4th, everyone wants to host the Brit. When he eventually returns to the Fleet Air Arm, he intends to share his experiences to smooth any Anglo-American carrier link-ups in future. Those who come across to the US have a wide variety of experience with the aim of bringing that knowledge back to the UK for the benefit of our own carrier aviation, Fraser explained. The big deck experience is not something which can be replicated with our carriers. The way they conduct their flight operations is vastly different. But when I go back to the UK, any integration with the US will be far easier. Thanks to Hollywood, notably the 2 Top Gun films, Fraser doesn't have to do much to explain his job, although unsurprisingly it is not like in the movies. We can't do a story about a fast jet pilot on a US carrier without asking the obvious question. Is it just like Top Gun? Life on a squadron is very busy during the day, and then everyone goes back and watches a movie and goes to bed, rinse, repeat for 9 months, the Briton said. The public's perception. When you meet the public, they're very excited. Fraser flies the FA-18E Super Hornet, a single-seat strike fighter capable of reaching 1.5 times the speed of sound and delivering ordnance air-to-air, air-to-ship, air-to-ground, missiles, bombs, guided bombs, mines onto a target up to 500 miles from the carrier. A strike fighter capable of air-to-air and air-to-ground surface missions. The Super Hornet has an internal 20mm M61A2 rotary cannon and can carry air-to-air missiles, air-to-surface missiles, and a variety of other weapons. Additional fuel can be carried in up to 5 external fuel tanks, and the aircraft can be configured as an airborne tanker by adding an external air-to-air refueling system. Although officially named Super Hornet, it is commonly referred to as Rhino within the US Navy. Designed and initially produced by McDonnell Douglas, the Super Hornet first flew in 1995. Low-rate production began in early 1997, reaching full-rate production in September 1997, after the merger of McDonnell Douglas and Boeing the previous month. The Super Hornet entered fleet service with the United States Navy in 1999, supplanting the Grumman F-14 Tomcat, which was retired in 2006. Back in January, US and UK aircraft and warships carried out strikes on more than 60 Houthi targets in Yemen. As previously reported, the aircraft included 4 Royal Air Force Eurofighter Typhoons, while more than a dozen US Navy FA-18 Super Hornets were employed in the airstrikes, which were carried from the aircraft carrier, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower CVN-69. Carrier Air Wing 3, one of the oldest air wings in the Navy, operates from the Nimitz-class nuclear-powered carrier with FA-18 Super Hornet, E-2 Hawkeye, and EA-18G Growler squadrons aboard. The Super Hornet has performed as a multi-role attack aircraft via the use of different external equipment, while the fighter jet's advanced networking capabilities have allowed it to accomplish very specific missions. In this way, it has been utilized as a force multiplier where it has been deployed to meet the various challenges that a carrier might face. In its fighter mode, it has served as an escort and provided fleet air defenses from enemy aircraft and other threats, while in its attack mode, it has provided force projection, interdiction, and close and deep air support.